Negative visualization. Imagine sitting in your favorite chair on a quiet evening, surrounded by everything that brings you comfort. The warm light filters through familiar windows, your loved ones are safe nearby, and the day's responsibilities have finally settled into peaceful completion. You're holding a cup of tea that's exactly the right temperature, feeling grateful for this simple moment of contentment. But then a strange thought crosses your mind. What if, just for a moment, you deliberately imagined all of this disappearing? This is the heart of negative visualization, one of Stoicism's most counterintuitive practices. The ancient Stoics believed that by regularly imagining the loss of what we hold dear, we could actually increase our appreciation for it and develop resilience against life's inevitable changes. On the surface, this seems almost cruel to ourselves. Why would we voluntarily conjure up scenarios of loss when we could simply enjoy what we have? Yet embedded within this apparent contradiction lies a profound wisdom about the nature of attachment, gratitude, and inner strength. You begin this practice by considering something precious in your life. Perhaps it's your morning routine, the sound of rain on your roof, or the way your pet greets you at the door. Instead of simply enjoying these experiences passively, negative visualization asks you to briefly imagine their absence. You picture waking up without that familiar routine, living somewhere the rain sounds different, or coming home to silence where there was once joyful recognition. The first response to this exercise often feels uncomfortable, even wrong. Your mind might resist, questioning why you would invite such thoughts when life provides enough uncertainty already. But as you sit with this discomfort, something unexpected begins to happen. The imagined loss doesn't diminish your current joy. Instead, it illuminates just how precious these ordinary moments truly are. Consider how this works with relationships. You spend time each day with people you care about, but familiarity can create a kind of emotional background noise where you stop really noticing their presence. Negative visualization invites you to imagine, just briefly, what your days would feel like without their laughter, their quirks, their particular way of seeing the world. This isn't about dwelling in morbid fantasy, but about using contrast to reveal the extraordinary nature of what seems ordinary. The practice extends beyond relationships to encompass your abilities, your health, your circumstances. You might imagine what it would be like to lose your sight and suddenly appreciate the effortless way your eyes move across these words. Or you consider what life might feel like without the use of your hands and notice with fresh wonder how they type, gesture, and create without conscious direction. Through imagined absence, presence becomes vivid again, but negative visualization serves a deeper purpose than just rekindling gratitude. By regularly contemplating loss in a controlled, philosophical way, you're essentially training your emotional resilience. You're not trying to become detached or pessimistic, but rather developing what the Stoics called inner strength. When change inevitably arrives, as it always does, you've already spent time considering how you might respond with grace rather than being completely blindsided by disruption. This practice reveals something profound about the nature of security itself. Most of us spend enormous energy trying to make our lives predictable and permanent, building walls of habit and accumulation to keep uncertainty at bay. Negative visualization suggests a different approach. Instead of denying life's impermanence, we can make friends with it. We can find a strange kind of peace in acknowledging that everything we love exists within the flow of time. Think about how differently you might experience a beautiful sunset if you knew it was the last one you'd ever see. Every color would seem more vivid, every moment more precious. Negative visualization doesn't require such dramatic circumstances. It simply asks you to bring that same intensity of attention to ordinary sunsets by occasionally remembering that even the sun itself won't shine forever. As you explore this practice, you begin to notice how much of your mental energy usually goes toward taking things for granted. Your mind assumes that tomorrow will look much like today, that the people and circumstances you rely on will remain stable and available. This assumption, while necessary for daily functioning, can also create a kind of emotional numbness. You stop seeing what's actually in front of you because you're so confident it will still be there later. Negative visualization gently disrupts this assumption without creating anxiety about the future. You're not trying to predict or prevent loss, but simply using the possibility of change to illuminate the reality of what you have right now. It's like adjusting the contrast on a photograph to make the colors more vivid and defined. The practice becomes especially powerful when applied to your own life story. You can imagine different versions of yourself, paths not taken, circumstances that might have developed differently. This isn't about regret or wishful thinking, but about appreciating the particular constellation of experiences that have led you to this exact moment. By envisioning alternate possibilities, you develop a deeper appreciation for the specific life you're actually living. Over time, negative visualization begins to change your relationship with impermanence itself. Instead of seeing change as something to fear or resist, you start to understand it as the very source of life's preciousness. A song is beautiful partly because it ends. A conversation matters because it won't last forever. Even your own consciousness becomes more remarkable when you remember its temporary nature. This shift in perspective creates an unusual kind of emotional freedom. When you're no longer desperately clinging to everything staying exactly the same, you can engage more fully with life as it actually unfolds. You can love people without trying to control them, enjoy experiences without demanding they last forever, and face uncertainty with curiosity rather than dread. As you prepare for sleep tonight, you might experiment with this ancient practice in the gentlest possible way. Perhaps you simply notice the weight of your blanket, the softness of your pillow, the quiet safety of your room, and briefly imagine how extraordinary these simple comforts would seem if you'd been without them. Let this awareness settle into gratitude without forcing or analyzing the process. Negative visualization ultimately teaches us that security doesn't come from making everything permanent, but from developing the inner resources to appreciate and navigate whatever comes. It's not about solving the mystery of impermanence, but about learning to dance with it gracefully, finding peace not in spite of change, but because of our growing ability to meet it with an open heart.